Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Well, unfortunately, as we know, this past week we did have a couple of terrible incidents, a couple of mass shootings, and of course, the political left will never, ever let one of these tragedies go. So, thanks to that, we have Senators Booker, Blumenthal, and Menendez proposing once again the Federal Firearms Licensing Act. What does that mean if it was passed? Well, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. So let's spend a few minutes today talking about the worst piece of gun legislation you will ever read. Okay, so this issue has kicked around before. Sheila Jackson Lee over in the House, never a friend of the Second Amendment, has proposed this type of legislation as well. Senators Menendez, Booker, Spartacus, and Blumenthal. So we got two from New Jersey and one from Connecticut. Again, not big, staunch Second Amendment states. They're proposing a federal firearms license for you, the lawful and responsible gun owner. What does that mean? What would it mean if this bill actually became legislation? Well, what it means is that if you want to own, possess, or purchase a firearm, you must first obtain a federal firearms license. And here's the kicker. Is in order to be eligible for a federal firearms license, you need to be age 21. So even though we just had the Ninth Circuit strike down an AR ban on those 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, the United States Senate, some in the United States Senate, believe that age of possession should be 21, despite what the courts have just said. And that was the Ninth Circuit, okay? But there's a lot more to it. You see, because in order to qualify for this federal firearms license, you would need to conduct a universal background check. That's not too uncommon, especially for those of us out here in Washington. You would need to take a firearm safety class, which would be unique to us here in Washington, but I know some states that require that. And you would also have to demonstrate hands-on proficiency in the use of your weapon before you could actually exercise your constitutional right. Now, I think what all of us, as lawful and responsible gun owners, can all preach until we're blue in the face that, yes, we should all get trained, we should all become proficient so that we are safe and lawful and responsible gun owners. There is no other constitutional right that a person has to demonstrate their proficiency. Can you imagine if we wanted people to demonstrate their proficiency before we allowed them to vote? Oh, but you wait, there's more. You see, because the discretion to grant this license would lie exclusively with the Department of Justice and, of course, your Attorney General, Mr. Merrick Garland. Of course, it would subject you to all sorts of background checks, including background checks of all your medical records and mental health records, and would provide the Attorney General with many arbitrary and capricious reasons for which he could deny that license. Now, if you are given that license, you're graced with that license is only good for one firearm. So theoretically, if you own 30 firearms, you'd have to apply for 30 licenses. If you want to go out and you want to perhaps purchase 2 new guns, you would have to purchase 2 new licenses. Now, those licenses are only good for 30 days. If you do not purchase a firearm within that 30-day window with that new license, that license is null and void. But, oh, yes, there's more. These licenses are only good for 5 years, which means you get to renew those licenses every 5 years. And, of course, if you fail to do so, that particular firearm would be subject to forfeiture. Listen, this is a very common strategy that we are seeing where the federal government is trying to expand their outreach more and more into the regulation of firearms to bring more and more activities, individuals, firearms, and components under federal control. This act would be the ultimate act of a complete federalization of your Second Amendment rights. Now, what's the likelihood of this legislation passing? Well, the numbers in the Senate don't bear out well for this to even make it out of there. And candidly, this administration has painted themselves into such a corner of fecklessness that candidly, I don't think they're capable of getting any legislation passed. But the more important lesson is this. You begin to see how some in political power in this country view one of your constitutional rights. Why is it that the Second Amendment right is such a disfavored right? And let us not forget that the Second Amendment does not give us the right to possess a firearm. The Second Amendment prevents government from taking that right from us. That right was given to us by our Creator. The Second Amendment merely states that government doesn't get to take it from us. Listen, you may have more questions about this crazy piece of legislation or anything else that's being kicked around. And if you do, don't ever hesitate to contact us at WashingtonGunLaw.com. Or, of course, you call us directly at 425-765-0487. Now, let's remember, part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here at Washington Gun Law, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe.